championship, but suddenly they've got the Orange Bowl win against a very opportunistic Miami defense. So Hornibrook solves them. And the question is, as we join you from Madison, Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer, Olivia Decker is downstairs. Question is, how do they get over that hump and end up for the first time in the college football playoff?
I mean, the hinge point has to be the quarterback, Alex Hornibrook, right? But that time they played he played so well in the Orange Bowl, it didn't sneak up on Wisconsin. He had now 22 games of experience, and he went out and lit it up, applying that experience in the Orange Bowl. If he is that guy for 13 games, this is indeed a college football playoff team.
He told us he should have been doing that the whole time, he felt like, in his career. But the guy behind him, who grew up idolizing Adrian Peterson, busted his record last year, Jonathan Taylor, a Heisman hopeful.
Yeah, and Jonathan Taylor is a unique combination of incredible vertical speed, but patience for a young running back. This was a true freshman a year ago, and he got it done in so many ways. He can gash you, he can pound you. He started to trust his offensive line. This young man actually got better during the offseason. We'll see the first step that he took here tonight.
The Heisman odds like Bryce Love and Tua a little bit more, but Taylor's body of work is substantial, nearly 1,800 yards last year. So for Western Kentucky, that's a stack of problems, right? Alex Hornibrook is better. Taylor is Taylor. If you're Western Kentucky, what do you do tonight?
Well, Western Kentucky, first of all, their strength is their defense. Now, it might not be the strength against what they're going to see tonight against Wisconsin, because they'll pound you into oblivion. But I think Mike Sanford Jr., the head coach in his second year, his offense has been completely redone, completely gutted over the last two seasons. And today, Drew Eccles gets his first start as a fifth-year senior. That's going to be a treat to watch, because we don't get to see that in the day and the age of the transfer at that position.
They're testing the waters with maybe 5 running backs, 3 quarterbacks even we could see in tonight's game. And Camp Randall Stadium is about to be electric. Western Kentucky has to deal with this level of volatility tonight at the home of the Badgers. On ESPN. We told you before the break about Alex Hornibrook, the Wisconsin quarterback. There's trouble in his receiving corps, and for more on that, downstairs we say hi to Olivia Decker. Olivia.
Yeah, Jason, 2 receivers, Quintez Cephas and Danny Davis, are suspended for tonight's game. Quintez was charged with felony sexual assault last Monday and has since been suspended indefinitely by the school. Meanwhile, Danny Davis is serving a 2-game suspension for his involvement with the case. He's still practicing with the team because he has not been charged with anything. So as a result, the Badgers' top 2 receivers are sophomore Kendrick Pryor and junior A.J. Taylor. And guys, behind them are 2 walk-ons who have never caught a college pass. But Kendrick Pryor specifically has been a standout in camp, a guy coaches are really excited about. He told me that this receiving corps has momentum from a good Orange Bowl performance, like you guys were talking about, and they feel like they have something to prove, and that starts tonight.
But for Paul Chryst, that receiving corps ends up being very important, because if teams can load the box on Jonathan Taylor, he's got some trouble.
Yeah, Alex Hornibrook is going to see that all season long. Added guys to the box, a favorable look in the pass game, but can Paul Chryst, quarterback, going into a kind of a magical third year as a starter, can he appropriately apply that experience into this season? If he can, this is a college football playoff team.
Off we go from Camp Randall. Wisconsin gets the ball first. Kendrick Pryor, who you just heard about, his first touch ends up going just across the 15-yard line. So Jonathan Taylor, Heisman hopeful. In high school, he said, I want to be a little bit faster, which is terrifying. So he took up track just as a side job, and he won the 100-meter of the entire state. That's him in front of the pack by a long shot.
Yeah, that wasn't much of a race. And keep in mind, the numbers that he put up a year ago, he was a youngster. And it took him till about mid-season to really trust his offensive line. He kept thinking something was peeking from behind the corner, and when he found out it wasn't, he went to a completely different level.
A 4-time state champ is the back on first down. Taylor's first carry. He goes weaving across the 20-yard line, and our impact players other than Taylor for Wisconsin.
Well, Wisconsin's a tight end that Kyle Peniston has to be the guy that takes over for Troy Fumagalli, or in fact, they haven't found that guy yet, but a guy that can be on the field for 3 downs, blocker and receiver. And Devin Key is a safety that is going to be up around the box a lot. So he's going to have to react back to play action, but he's going to have to add a hat at the line of scrimmage as well.
Hornibrook in his 3rd year, a little check at the line. Taylor hesitates, and he's going to get dragged down. Only 22 times all year last year did he get tackled for a loss. He rummaged for a yard there or thereabouts.
22 negative rushes out of almost 300 carries. And that's a combination of 2 things. The running back in the run game is in sync and is supposed to be in sync with an offensive line. So those 2 things go together, but that's a lot about really good blocking up front, but great vision and instincts by Jonathan Taylor.
He's out. Garrett Groshek is in as the 3rd down back, and that's a story to watch throughout this game as well. Hornibrook complete to A.J. Taylor. First down, gain of 11.
Well, that's exactly what Olivia talked about at the top. A.J. Taylor has to be that guy. And watch the decisiveness for Hornibrook. Man-to-man, high safety, man-to-man underneath. Taylor has to beat the defender inside, get across his face. He does it, but the ball has to be anticipated there. And that's exactly what Alex Hornibrook did. What's missing on his decisiveness on tape? I just didn't think he trusted what he saw. He prepares, but then he didn't trust it come game day at times.
A mini hurdle from Taylor back to his track and field days. Let's go back to Alex Hornibrook and that focus on decision making.
You know, as a quarterback, you do all this preparation, but come game day, you have to let it rip. You have to trust what it is that you see. And sometimes in the 15 interceptions that I looked at of his a year ago, he hesitated a bit. There was an open receiver. He didn't get it to him on time. He waited too long, all of those things. Now he simply has to trust the preparation and let it rip when he sees it.
Taiwan Deal is in as the tailback. Hornibrook looks that way, and the newly healthy Taiwan Deal, who's in part in charge of keeping Jonathan Taylor healthy as the 2nd back.
Yeah, and Deal is, he's been nicked up, but he's an all-around back. He has speed, he has power, and he can come out of the backfield and receive just like that. So Deal wasn't healthy a year ago. Groshek was just rounding in to a more prominent role, and he broke his thumb. So those guys, the depth behind Jonathan Taylor is actually going to make Taylor better by keeping him fresh throughout the season.
First down, Wisconsin. Taiwan Deal's first carry of the season into Antoine Kincaid, the sophomore linebacker for Western Kentucky. This was a very good pass defense last year for the Hilltoppers, but they will be threatened on the run all night tonight.
Yeah, and that pass defense is going to be compromised to some extent because we talked about the role the safeties are going to have to play tackling Jonathan Taylor. And Devin Key is one of our impact players. He had 94 tackles. It's nothing new for that group. That's part of the scheme, but that's where Alex Hornibrook has to make him pay by going over the top in the play action.
Hornibrook on the move, something he's tried to improve on, and he was under duress as he slings it out of bounds. Carson Jordan was breathing down his neck, but Hornibrook said, look, we told you in the open, he felt like he should have been that Orange Bowl quarterback his entire career, and part of it is what he's done with his feet.
And the question is then, why wasn't he? Well, some of it is his feet, some of it is the hesitation, and he knows that. He understands it. He prepares really, really well. Maybe it's sometimes a little bit too much because you have too much processing going on, but also his feet have gotten better. Manipulation in the pocket, reset your feet, and throw an accurate pass.
8th play of the drive. Hornibrook Has it complete. It's a first down across the 40. Jake Ferguson, freshman tight end, a spot so important to the Badgers, and he moves the sticks.
And this is where Troy Fumagalli had been. Jake Ferguson just runs an out route on man-to-man coverage right there, and then it's the accurate ball placement by Hornibrook. But this is still what Wisconsin is looking for, Jason. Fumagalli was a three-down guy. He was a really good receiver that you could move around. You could match him up on a safety, a nickel safety, or an outside linebacker, but he was also a decent edge blocker. They don't have that combination in one guy yet.
Motion at the line. Taylor's bumped, and he goes down behind the line of scrimmage. So a tackle for loss for Jalen George, just his 5th career hit. And for Taylor, a rare tackle for loss.
22 out of almost 300 carries, but watch the penetration right there. That's what Western Kentucky does defensively. They have a 4-man front, and they have really a nickel situation in the back. 5 guys that can fly around. There's a diverse look on the back end, and they can run through gaps like they did on that play.
Hornibrook wide side and dropped. A.J. Taylor, the intended target, 3rd and long on the way.
And this is really just the same route that we saw Jake Ferguson, the tight end, catch earlier. Just simple out route, clearing out on the outside, and Taylor doesn't look it in, but that also wasn't meticulous ball placement. It was to the back shoulder, should have been to the front, but once again, you start talking about Hornibrook's feet. He has to get that ball out in front, and that's probably a catch, but it was certainly catchable by A.J. Taylor anyway.
3rd and long. Have to get to the 29. Hornibrook stressed outside the pocket. Ready to throw. Down the sideline he goes, and this is incomplete. Groshek on the sideline couldn't haul it in, and D'Angelo Malone forced the play.
The 3rd and 12 situation, Western Kentucky was playing 3 deep, zone underneath, and there just weren't any lanes to throw to, and Hornibrook did a nice job. You talked about his feet. That was good feet right there. Got out on the sideline, threw an accurate pass, it just wasn't completed. That was a good series defensively for Western Kentucky.
The ruling on the field was of an incomplete pass. That ruling is under further review.
It's a Big Ten crew, and we'll find out when we come back whether or not Groshek made the catch. No score in Camp Randall. Opening drive for Paul Chryst and Wisconsin comes to an end after the replay review confirms the call on the field, incomplete pass. See Groshek with his foot on the sideline even before he made contact with the ball, so the pass incomplete. There's a good look at it, and so Wisconsin scheduled to punt. Team that's won at least 10 games 4 straight years gives up the ball as Western Kentucky deferred and got exactly what it wanted on the opening drive, a stop. Cray with the fair catch, and here comes Western Kentucky. Drew Eccles in his first start in a football game in 5 years when he was a Warner Christian Eagle down in Daytona, Florida. Look how young he looks, like he's 7.
I know it.
That was back in his high school days. What's he like right now, you think?
I think the nerves are at a significant level, but it was interesting. Mike Sanford Jr. told us yesterday that it was about Tuesday when you saw the look in Drew Eccles' eyes. It's like, I'm really going to start in a major college football game for the first time in 5 years. This is going to be interesting.
Had one of his best practices ever the other day getting ready for this game, and he will use his feet tonight. And he's got a completion to Lucky Jackson, who likely is going to be his top target, gain of 8 on first down.
And I think that's exactly what you're going to see out of Western Kentucky. Mike Sanford Jr., They kind of went to school in the offseason and studied 5 different offensive approaches to come up with something that they thought would work. They eventually want to move their quarterback kind of a dual read RPO and then take vertical shots when they have the chance to.
On the ground for the first time, and nothing there. Zach Bond with the tackle. Lucky Jackson, playing to his name and to his strength, had 4-leaf clover socks on as he came over to the stadium tonight. He's not wearing them for the game, but he could use a little fortune as Western Kentucky's an underdog.
And Lucky actually moves from the outside to the inside. They would like Lucky Jackson to be a volume catcher, and they didn't feel he competed with balls outside as much as they would like, so they move him inside, and we'll see what happens.
Third down and short for Eccles. Quick set, under pressure, down he goes! Ryan Connolly, the senior linebacker out of the state of Minnesota, with the sack.
And Ryan Connolly was the leading tackler a year ago for this team, and Edwards comes up inside and really clears the path for Ryan Connolly. And that's exactly the way Wisconsin plays defense, Jason. Jim Leonhard is going to bring extra guys. They play a lot of 3-man front. That time it was a 4-man, but they're always going to add 1 or 2, but you just don't know where they're coming from.
You're going to hear this a lot with Wisconsin, but a former walk-on in Connolly, who got a scholarship 3 years ago, stops the drive, and this punt, fortunately for Western Kentucky, takes something of a positive bounce. But Wisconsin in plus territory as it gets the ball back. Badgers' first drive got into Western Kentucky territory and then stalled on a long third down. So Alex Hornibrook back to the controls after a 20 for 25 in the final 3 quarters of the bowl game. As we join you over on ESPN, Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer, Olivia Decker at Camp Randall Stadium. Wisconsin on its second drive of the game. First one stalled in plus territory. This one begins there. And Heisman hopeful Jonathan Taylor off the counter on first down. He's got a gap to show off the speed. Taylor breaks the tackle. Taylor down the edge for the touchdown. Brilliance from Taylor.